Hi guys, time for lunch. We're on Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Then I looked again at all the oppression that is done under the sun, and see, the tears of the oppressed, but they have no comforter, and power on the side of their oppressors, but they have no comforter. Therefore I commanded the dead who were already dead, more than the living who are still alive. And better than both is he who has never existed, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. And I saw that all the toil and skill of the work bring envy between man and his neighbor. That too is futile and feeding on wind. The fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. Better is a hand filled with rest than both hands filled with toil and feeding on wind. Then I looked against the futility under the sun. There is one without a second who has neither son nor brother, and there is no end to all his labors. His eye also is not satisfied with riches, and for whom I am toiling and depriving myself of good, that too is futility and an evil task. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one lifts his companion up. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Also, if two lay down together, they keep warm. But how does one keep warm by himself? Although one might be overpowered, two withstand him. And a threefold cord is not readily broken. A poor and wise youth is better than an old and foolish sovereign who no longer knows how to take warning. For he comes out of prison to be sovereign, although in his reign he was born poor. I have seen all the living who walk under the sun. They were with the second youth who stands in his place. There was no end of all the people, all of whom he heeded, but the ones who come after do not rejoice in him, for that too is futile and feeding on wind. Guard your steps when you go to the house of Elohim, and draw near to listen rather than to give the slaughtering of fools, for they do not know that they do evil. Do not be hasty with your mouth, and let not your heart hurry to bring forth a word before Elohim. For Elohim is in the heavens, and you on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. For a dream comes through the greatness of the task, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. When you make a vow to Elohim, do not delay to pay it, for he takes no pleasure in fools. Pay that which you have vowed. It is better not to vow than to vow and not pay. Do not allow your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of Elohim that it was a mistake. Why should Elohim be wroth at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? For in much dreaming and many words there is futility, but fear Elohim. If you see the oppression of the poor and denial of right ruling and righteousness in a province, do not be astonished at the matter, for a higher than the high is guarding, and there are higher ones over them. And the increase of the land is for all. The sovereign himself is served from the field. He who loves silver is not satisfied with silver, nor he who loves wealth and increase. That too is futile. With the increase of goods there is an increase of those consuming them. What advantage then is there to their owners but to look on? Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much, but the plenty of the rich does not let him sleep. There is a sickly evil I have seen under the sun, riches kept for their owner, for his evil. But those riches perish through evil use, and he brings forth a son, and there is naught in his hand. As he came naked from his mother's womb, so he returns, to go as he came, and from his labor which goes, into his hand he takes none whatsoever. And this too is a grievous evil. Exactly as he came, so he goes. And what gain has he since he toiled for the wind? All his days he also eats in darkness, and with much sorrow and sickness and wrath. See what I have seen. It is good and beautiful for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor, in which he toils under the sun all the days of his life, which Elohim gives him, for it is his portion. Further, when Elohim has given any man riches and wealth, and permitted him to enjoy them, and to receive his portion, and rejoice in his labor, this is a gift of Elohim. Though it not be much, let him remember the days of his life, because Elohim bears witness by the gladness of his heart. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is great among men. A man to whom Elohim has given riches and wealth and esteem, so that his being lacks none at all in what he desires. But Elohim does not permit him to eat of it, and a foreigner consumes it. This is futile, and it is an evil disease. If a man brings forth 100 children, and lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his being is not satisfied with goodness, or indeed he has no burial place, I say that a premature birth is better than he. For it comes to futility and goes away in darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Even the sun it has not seen, it has more rest than man. And though he lives 1,000 years twice over, yet he shall not see goodness. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not satisfied. For what advantage has the wise over the fool? What advantage does the poor have, who knows how to walk before the living? What the eye sees is better than what the desire goes after. That too is futile and feeding on wind. Whatever shall be has already been named, and it is known that he is son of Adam, and he is unable to contend with him who is mightier than he. The more words, the more futility. What is it to man, the advantage? For who knows what is good for man in life, all the days of his futile life, which he passes like a shadow? For who declares the man what shall be after him under the sun?